I want to welcome everyone to this week of In the DAW. We have Jinco. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me.
And we're excited to get into this song, to break down Breathe. Really quick, I just want to say thank you to Brendan, who goes by Daddy, for again joining us and replacing Multiplier because he's still on a freaking vacation because he felt like he needed a vacation. Brendan, how you doing today, man?
Dude, I'm doing good today.
Those who have been watching the last couple episodes of In the DAW, they know that Brendan hosts a Twitch channel, and on that Twitch channel he has a series called In the Whip, where we do live stream on Twitch, where we invite artists to come and dissect their whips in real time. We've had AU5, Clockbias, Forso, Culture Codes coming on. We'd love to have you sometime. We feel like that could really benefit you.
Absolutely. I'm always down.
And really quick, here is a word from our sponsors. This episode of In the DAW is sponsored by Antares, who's known for their legendary pitch correction plugin, Autotune. But did you know that they have other plugins that are just ridiculous for sound design? Well, Antares was kind enough to send over those plugins so that we could check it out. Every single sound that we're going to use in these examples can be yours in the form of Serum presets. 10 free Serum presets from In the DAW. Link in the description. It's free. Go grab it. You'll love it. So the first example that we have is one of their plugins called Mutator. Whatever time segment you put in right here, it takes those time segments in the sound that you put it on, and it chops it up and it rearranges it. Here's the sound without it. And so here's the sound with it. So this next one is really mind-boggling, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but it's called Throat. But basically it's a plugin that they designed where you can change the tone of someone's voice, the timbre of it, by basically changing the structure of their throat and their mouth. What? Now you see where I'm going with this, you know, on sound design purposes. This is gonna be insane. So what I did is that we have this sound right here. Wow, that is lovely. So now we're gonna throw it through Throat, and we're gonna play with it for a second to change these different nodes, which are associated with these parts of the mouth and the throat. Let's see what we're gonna, yeah, you know. Sounds like I just stuck a straw through my bass. So if you ever need to stick a straw through your bass, make sure to use the throat. And then finally, and honestly, this is one of my favorite things that I've gotten from Antares. This thing is so freaking mean. It's called Warm, and it's a tube saturator. Let's take a listen to the sound before the plugin is on it. Nice little slicey slice sound. All right, so let's throw Warm on it. Oh, what? What is that? This is going on everything, literally everything. A huge shout out to Antares for sponsoring this episode of In the DAW. And again, if you want these sounds in the form of Serum presets, go grab them. I know I only showed 4 right here, but we have 10 free presets for you right now. And in fact, those presets are made from little things that we've said throughout the episode that I've turned into wavetables. So make sure you go grab them. And remember, if you are interested in these Antares plugins, as well as so many other ones that they have, make sure to check out the link to their website in the description. And finally, before we get into it, I just want to remind everyone about the In the DAW and Behind the DAW Patreon. It's what fuels, what funds this, so that we can keep bringing these episodes to you. So go check that out and become even more a part of In the DAW and Behind the DAW. So your piano, man, the beginning, the intro piano. That's what first hooked me. That's so good. What's going on with that, man? What piano are you using?
We're using East and West standard piano, honestly.
You're the first person that has used East-West piano, so that's really cool. So as far as like the melodic composition of the piano, how did you go about writing it?
So I have a writing partner who I work with on a lot of my music, and we get into the studio together. We kind of just sit down and talk about kind of the vibe and emotion and relationship we're trying to create for the songs. We sit there and we just jam on the piano and come up with these melodies, and sometimes they are instant, sometimes they're not, and there's a bunch of different takes, but for the most part we're pretty in tune and in sync with what we're trying to create. And so we sit down and start writing, and the piano just kind of pours out. For this particular song, actually, it's interesting. The piano was written before the lyrics. The melodies from the piano came first, and then once the song kind of had a structure, we sent it off to the vocalist, and she fell in love, and boom shakalaka.
Man, and did she write the lyrics?
Yeah, it was a creative kind of process. It works different with every singer. Sometimes a singer will have an idea of some sort, come forth with basically just kind of like a concept. From there, we'll fine tune it and try to work on the hook together to make sure that it works perfect. This vocalist is an absolute legend. She's actually the same vocalist that worked on my track Tokyo.
Why don't you meet me up in Tokyo?
Literally just wrote itself.
Who was the vocalist?
Her name's Nefera.
You want to like walk me through how you did the drums and the build? They're very unique. And
Sure.
kind of, like, we'll go through those.
In the drum build, I basically created some stadium drums here. This is through Contact.
Is it Action Strike? Is that what you?
Oh, I know exactly what those are. Yeah, those are action strikes. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have this marching drum loop that was created. And then I used the timpani kind of just to like lead into the next section. So
did you have any bass layered with that, or was that kind of the bass in this part of the song? 'Cause those are very like heavy, like low end heavy drums.
Yeah, so basically I have the piano, I have this arc control strings, and then I got the
What
piano.
strings are those you said? Arc control? Is that a, I don't even know what that is.
I think it's East and West because I bounce it all so that my project can actually work. These strings are just
So good.
got it. There's no
It's
bass.
so beautiful.
Kind of crazy with this song. You know, I sent it off to, Spin-In and Trap Nation, and nobody would take the song. I just am like one of those producers that, I know a lot of people aren't like this, but I hate making music and it just not coming out because I can't get a label to sign it. This is just a piece of music that I spent hours making, days making, weeks. Just because a label doesn't want it doesn't mean that people shouldn't hear it. I'm a fan of self-releasing. Even if it doesn't get millions of plays, at least it's a part of the story and a piece of my soul, my heart that I put out, and so everyone can hear it.
So when you do self-release, do you mainly just push it through like Spotify playlists and YouTube channels and stuff like that? Is that like your mainstay?
Yeah, I mean, I send it out to everyone I know, and wherever it goes, it goes. I don't have like too many contacts with, Spotify playlists and YouTube. I just basically have Xketos when I'm a big supporter of my music, so I always send it off to them. Whoever else picks it up, thank you very much. And then I hit up all my friends who do SoundCloud reposts. The way that I do my free releases is in order to download it, you have to follow me on Spotify and then save the song on Spotify. And that way I'm building my Spotify and the song while people are trying to download it.
The vocal processing, sir. The vocal processing is just too beautiful. What's going on?
I think she actually processed these vocals.
Oh, I love it when they do that.
She had an engineer with her, and so I'm pretty sure she processed. Yeah, she processed them. Because literally, like, she sent me them dry and she sent me them wet and like processed, and I was like, honestly, this is better or just as good as anything I'm gonna do. So we just kept it.
At the end of like the vocal phrase right before the drop, it sounds like they're like kind of auto-tuned for a second, like super hard.
I mean, dude, that's her singing.
It sounds so good.
It's not even. I don't
It sounds
even.
like an effect or something.
Nah, that's her doing a little noodle. And I'm listening to it. Doesn't even sound like it's pulling on auto-tune at all. That's how pro she is.
It sounded like it was moved like manually, like in the song, like really good. Like it sounds awesome, but that's crazy. That sounds fantastic. Bass design, the sub sounded like really good on all registers. So talk me through how you did your bass design in the drop.
All right, so the 808 is actually current sample. So a lot of times I do a bunch of different tests to see what basses sound the best. Originally, I was just using an operator, some EQ, OTT, some Camel Crush, mono, and then this is just like an EQ thing that you automate. But yeah, so originally it was this sub. And then I guess I went to this sub. It worked better as an 808.
So did you just like sample that? Was it like one note or was it like a phrase like already?
Yeah, so this is just one huge sample. How big that sample is. Ooh. Yeah, and I don't even know where it came from. It might be from one of his sample packs. Less is more, you know? And every song is different, you know? For my latest tracks, like, you know, sometimes I'll just use a regular Serum. On Serum, they have just like a sub. You can just have the sub playing. And that sub is so good. I've been using Serum on a lot of my tracks as well. So I'll just do like trial and error of a bunch of different 808s and subs that I use. And I'll put a bunch in and find the ones that work best. And then I'll pick the best two, and then I'll kind of go back and forth and see which one just sounds the best. And it looks like for this one was the good old, I guess it's Kern 808.
Okay, am I the only one that thought it was Crane?
Totally thought it was Crane.
Oh, maybe it is Crane. You're probably right.
But Kern,
I don't know.
nice.
I don't know what it is.
So this is old because now he's Crane. This was when he was KRNE.
Yeah, because now he actually has an A in his.
Yeah, now he's Crane.
He actually just did an interview on Sam Matla's EDM podcast. It's really good. It's actually really, really good.
He has the most popular snare on Splice.
That is correct.
You've heard it in every Future Bass song.
Yeah, I mean he's a beast. He's an incredible producer.
I'm pretty sure we've all used some of his stuff.
Fun fact, like almost all the effects, no, that's not true. A lot of the effects that I use in the DAW, like the little sound effects with things like, is Crane stuff. I use it on like every episode. He's amazing. The main drop synth, the meat of the song. Tell me about it.
All right, so
who's here?
So basically what I like to do is I like to find pre-made sounds already, and then I'll go in and I'll edit them and change kind of the envelopes and whatnot, fit it exactly how I want it to be. So for this one, what I wanted there to be a kind of a sound that had like a really strong transient and then something that kind of filled the back. So have the attack not so hard so that the transient would hit, but then it would come in and have the other part of the synth. So that's the one with the transient, and then this one is without it. Play them together, they sound like this. So yeah, I just had some compression, I got a filter on it, flanger, some hyperdimension, a little bit of EQ, dip down right there. But most of it comes from this reverb. A little bit of reverb, but enough to kind of give it some space. Then I put some spreading on it with this great acoustics plugin. I do a couple parallel processing. So I just have this reverb. The dry wet is just not fully up there. So it's kind of like, you know, if it was at 50%, then it would be parallel. So, you know, half of it would have the reverb, half not. So I brought it down pretty low.
Another thing about this drop synth that really, really caught me was the rhythm that it's playing, because it's not like a traditional rhythm. How did you come up with the rhythm of it?
So actually the original rhythm was another song that I had made a long time ago. And I really loved the chords and how it was like, bum, 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 bum. When I was working on this track, I was trying to come up with a drop, and I had remembered that I was literally recreating this exact idea. I had remembered that I had done something similar. So I went back and I looked at what I did there, and yeah, I just kind of came up with this melody and just kind of like weird, making a lot of space. You know, the song's at 130 BPM, so it's not your traditional trap track because of the BPM. Usually you work in like, you know, 140 to 160. So this one's slower, which gives you a lot of more room to make fills and give space. So just working on this thing, just coming up with melodies and just changing it to fit kind of within the key of the song. So that's kind of what I wanted for this track.
Is it playing like triplets or something like that? Or like, what is the rhythm? It's so good.
Yeah, it's not triplets. I mean, I guess it kind of is triplets a little bit. It's just an odd, I mean, I don't even know what you would call it.
Yeah, if you could, can you go into the MIDI clip?
So that's in triplets. So it's definitely not in triplet. A lot of my music is a lot of guessing, whatever sounds good. So it's cool that this is
same, dude. I'm not like super theory like based.
Kind of just guess a lot of the times. So I really love how this one flows.
Do you have a pad underneath those stabs? I hear some harmony. Is that just part of the synth or like?
Yeah, so it's just part of the chord.
Just part of the MIDI chords. Yeah, it sounds like
it's just the chord. So there's a lower octave, kind of almost like a bass, doing kind of basically copying what the top's doing. So yeah, and then you just have the sub.
Oh, yeah, so good, dude. Talk to me about your drum fills.
So basically with drum fills, what I like to do is I just go through sample packs and I just find cool sounds like percussive loops, pretty much just anything that I can find that has a cool sound. And so what I'll do is I'll create an audio track and I'll just put a ton of them on there and I'll mute it. And then I literally just put them into places and try to make something that sounds cool. And so it's just a lot of trial and error and just finding cool sounds that can fill certain frequencies that are in the right keys. And like this thing right here, it's just like a little, I don't know, like a little loop. And that's the fill. That's like, and then with a kick, that's literally my fill. I mean, it's not much. And then I guess for at the end of the phrase, or I guess it's not the phrase, end of the first four bars would be. This song is not that complex. Most of it's
That's what's cool about it. It just sounds like a very complex song, and it shows like what tools are available to everyone.
I just had my mind blown yesterday. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Native Instruments Machine.
Totally.
That device, basically, like if you don't even know how to play the piano or you don't even know anything about anything, you could literally write melodies that are as good as any producer using that machine. Totally. They have like a setting where you can turn it into chords. Each pad turns into a chord, and you can put it into the scale. And they have every different scale you could even imagine. And literally you can just play chords by hitting the pads and everything sounds good. It's just everything in the scale.
To add on to that, because I remember when I learned that with the machine, that like absolutely blew my mind. You can also do it like on Ableton Push and stuff like that. But where we're at now actually is that, you know, if you're an Ableton user, which you are, but for those who are watching, if you're Ableton users, you can get an app on your phone called Touchable, and you can access what looks like a machine drum pad and do the exact same thing that you're talking about and just have it straight on your phone anywhere. Yeah, and it just syncs like seamlessly. It's insane where we're getting with this kind of stuff.
It's just like it blew my mind, you know, because I spend a lot of time trying to come up with melodies and chords and stuff. And if I had known that was available, you know, 2 years ago, it would just be a totally different story. I mean, who knows? Maybe I would have used it or not, but just having that at your disposal for up and coming producers that are not classically trained or, you know, are just wanting to get into it, you can now write beautiful melodies without even knowing how to play the piano. And it can connect to any synth, anything you want. It's not just context stuff. Like you could plug it into Ableton stock piano and you could play piano chords, or you could connect it to Serum and have that be your synth or whatever.
If you woke up tomorrow and everyone forgot about the song and you wanted to re-release this song, is there anything that you'd want to change before re-releasing it again?
I guess if I was going to re-release it, maybe send it off to somebody to do another mix and master on it, just to get another take, somebody with fresh ears. Probably the only thing I would do. I mean, I don't think I could take the song in any other directions. Maybe do a slightly variety of drops on the second one, but I guess no song's ever done. I could probably do a couple different things to the second drop, but I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out.
Would you like our feedback on your song?
Sure.
You actually just said it right before we got into this, that you were thinking about doing is actually making a variation of the second drop. This song is so good that you can actually get away with having the exact and like not lose any amazing points because of it. To take the song even like that much further, just get the icing on the cake kind of a thing, I do like to have a little bit of variation in a drop, not too much, you know, like with Boombox, Cartel and Quicks. The song is amazing. The only thing that kind of like let me down is that like how drastically different the two drops were. That's not really my style. I like when it's so drastically different that way, unless, and I was talking to Quicks about this, unless then there's a third drop incorporating, like basically fusing together the two different drops into like one mega drop,
right?
Incorporating that kind of stuff. Unless you're doing that, I kind of feel like the second drop should have like some type of variation just to keep it fresh. You know what I mean? Still keep like all the same elements, all the same rhythms, and well, I don't know. I guess you could switch up the rhythms a little bit, but you know, it's still like you could tell it's a variation of the other drop, but still like just to add a little candy here and there.
It's kind of one of those things where in dance music everybody wants so much in a song. Like if you listen to a lot of like rock or pop music, the drops are the same.
So true.
And usually on the drops they have is that's when your chorus is playing. I been finding myself running into a problem, not a problem, but where I create a song and it's so many worlds that it travels through before it gets to the end that it loses its kind of structure. And so with this track, I really just wanted to keep it simple. And I felt like the song's really about the vocal and the drops were kind of just that climax. So I didn't want to go like too far. I guess what I could have done is maybe changed up the chords a little bit, kept the same rhythm, but maybe made the chords a little bit different. But I guess I was just being lazy.
You bring up a really, really good point. You're right. Because if you look at basically any other type of music that's not necessarily quote unquote drop based, it's copy and paste, like for all the choruses, and except maybe for like the very last chorus they throw an extra harmony, an octave
or an extra snare drum or something to drive it, maybe some more percussion or something like that. But
exactly,
or even like a high synth that kind of gives it kind of like an extra, you're right, another harmony.
But yeah, for the most part they just don't do it. Yeah, I guess it's kind of weird how I don't expect that from other types of music. It's just electronic music. That's weird.
And if you listen to like Big Room House way back in the day, like Hardwell and Avicii and stuff like that, like their drops are the friggin' same. You go listen to Alesso, or any of these big, huge, Big Room House guys, their drops are the exact same. It's just in trap music, everybody wants it to go. And I know why they do it. It's for the live performance aspect of a song. They want, if you're going to play the whole song, you're not going to play two drops. You're not going to play the same drop twice. But I don't even know if this is necessarily this song's not, it goes off live. It's just definitely a moment, but it's not meant. I didn't make it so that DJs would play it. I made it because I love the vocal. I love the vibe and the emotion that brings to it.
I think it's interesting that we're talking about that era, because one of the things I actually didn't like about like the 2012, 2011 era is I feel like everybody had these like rules that you had to stick to with music. Like it had to be in 128, it had to be this and this and this and this. And I feel like we've kind of morphed into this do whatever you want. And there's a lot of fun stuff that's coming out kind of like this, right? It's trap at 130. It's got just a cool, like unique, fun sound to it. And to me, I love that, dude. I think that's super cool. It's experimental. But it still has that mainstream sound. So I like that. And I like how this is kind of, you're like, oh, this is different. I want it to sound a little different. It definitely has that vibe to it, which I think is really cool. And I think we live in a good time for that. My feedback, I think I would just love to hear maybe some oohs and ahs from that girl layered. I think that like her voice is super, super good. And that could add a little more to like the atmospheric. I think that'd be super cool.
Oh yeah, we did. Oh yeah. So we tried to do it at the end. The reason I didn't put it in there is because I just love the way the end goes.
Sounds so epic.
And I just, yeah. And so I felt like having these, it just wasn't working for me.
I see what you're saying.
It'd be fun to hear some like her voice, like a straight ooh or ah, and then like turning into like a pad, some chords. Her voice sounds like it'd be very good with some of that like atmospheric vocal stuff.
One of the things we could have had in some noodles and some percussive things happening behind the vocal, because it's kind of just straightforward.
Super good song. When Wyatt sent this to me, I was like, heck yeah.
Final question, man. Final. The best question, the most important question, the question that hinges on everything that we just did. Mr. Jinco, did you have a good time?
Oh yeah. One of my favorite things is making music. Being able to see a song start off as just kind of like a structure and then turn into something like this that I actually like really can connect to on an emotional level. It's very, very rewarding. I'm always having fun making music.
Did you enjoy the questions that we asked, or is there other ones that you would have liked? Make sure to check out these other amazing episodes of In the DAW. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week on In the DAW.